My name's Steve Potts, attorney in Dallas, Texas. I went to school in University of Texas in Austin, undergraduate in law school. Got out, decided that Perry Mason was the only real lawyer and I needed to be in the courtroom every day. So became a criminal defense attorney and did it every day until I woke up thinking, hey, all my clients are criminals and I'm hanging out with criminals all the time. And thought that, I've got a business degree, maybe I could go do something in that area that might be more fulfilling, and so I went into civil litigation. And was successful in that, but saw that there wasn't satisfaction in the clients necessarily, even when we were having what we the lawyers thought were big wins. And I became aware of what I thought were lawyer games, the positioning and the game playing and the, playing the technical things rather than getting resolution. And about that time, a guy by the name of Steve Bruchet made a talk about mediation, this new concept, mediation. And I heard that and lights went on and there was this feeling of, wow, somebody's really got something new going on that may get us back to the healing part of the profession. And was trained in that first or second class of mediators and did mediation for several years, not exclusively because I was building a transactional practice. And enjoyed mediation, still really believe in mediation, but it's still dealing with spilt milk and something that's already happened, and there's just not as much power in dealing with things that have already happened. So for me, I moved more and more into the transactional practice to work with things that are out in the future, to make some difference, help take dreams and let people help their dreams materialize into the real world. So that's sort of the trend. And out of that, on a different path, my own spiritual path that had sort of gone away in college because Sunday was inconveniently after the Saturday night frat parties, actually went off into quantum physics, back in the door through metaphysics, and then sort of back into some multiple array of whatever it is that I believe, and in that wanted to bring more of my beliefs and a lot of the things that I'd learned in lots of personal growth trainings that I'd taken and all of that, wanted to bring that into the practice of law, and wanted to relate to my clients out of a new place, like I was with my friends and people that had taken all these trainings, but felt really uncomfortable about that because it seemed to me that that my belief about what my clients wanted their lawyer to be, that's pretty distant away from reality, but I had made up this whole story about how I needed to satisfy my clients. And unfortunately, a portion of that I've satisfied. I think I'm intelligent and articulate, and I'd move fast and have fair fees and all of that. And there was a part of me that just was dissatisfied with the practice of law because I wasn't bringing all of myself to it. And when I learned to start languaging in what I consider to be an acceptable way, concepts that we talk about freely in our group, that I at least perceive that a lot of my clients in the business and commercial real estate area, they weren't as familiar with a lot of those terms, and some of those terms seemed sort of strange and different, and yes, woo-woo. That when I started going from talking about spirituality into, hey, I have this philosophy, and how about this, and talked about relationships, and talked about things about right versus effective, the concepts of right versus effective, and started bringing that into helping my business owners primarily get over the things that had already happened as quickly as possible. Shy of litigation, shy of mediation most of the time, is just a more open way of dealing with issues that had already happened, with theory being the most productive that a business person can be, or most of us, but a business person in this focus can be, is using their energy for creative purposes, creating their vision, where do you want to go, that kind of thing. And all the time and energy and suffering and worry that would happen over litigation and the things that had already happened was really diverting them from their most productive use of their time. So the philosophy is one that's developed about getting them, I'm using a ship analogy, you know, that they should be looking over the bow of the ship, plotting the course, taking us on adventures, you know, learning about themselves, learn about the world, the fun stuff, and don't need to be standing on the stern of the boat looking back at the chopped up smelly fish and the other things that are out in the stern. You know, let's get you off the stern and back to the bow of the boat as quickly as possible. I mean, that's sort of the philosophy in the pitch. Doing all that and having found this group and find that there are all these really sharp, caring, incredibly caring attorneys, it's like coming home. And to find out that everybody is really focused on it and really want it to happen, and then to see it over the last few years, to really start to see it showing up in different areas through collaborative law and what you've been doing, and just all sorts of fronts that I see these things coming up in conversations that attorneys are having. It's really exciting. It's really exciting. I think I'm thrilled to be, you know, part of all this. I always thought that there was something more to this. I was raised by a long line of scientists on my father's side and knew that there's a whole lot more going on in science and physics and quantum physics and just everything. There's so much more, and it's such a, there's so much more. I had notable experiences of things outside of my prior experience, which then helped to open up, to bring those into my reality. I had to open up my belief system, and once I opened up my belief system, all these other things started rushing in because I had all this, now I had all these new possibilities. That led into all sorts of trainings and counseling in various types, and just trying to figure out who I am and what I wanted and how can I be happy or happier. Did the LifeSpring training, the Landmark trainings, Peak Potentials trainings. I mean, I've done lots of different trainings, and not because at this stage that I think that I'm broken in some way. I think I may have thought that early on to some degree. It's just about learning about something more. There's always more, you know, fascinate me, excite me, introduce me to something new and different. So that's really what all those trainings are about. My current iteration of the question of what is holistic law is, well, let me take a step back. I to a large degree, I've avoided using the term because I believed, rightfully or wrongfully, that a large portion of my clients might judge that as something strange and different. And I've come from this background of wanting to find some languaging that would be more accepted early on, and then I can move on in and share concepts. It's not so much the label as the concepts. But more and more I've been, you know, using the holistic term, and people are fascinated by it. Really? What's a holistic lawyer? Really? A lawyer with a heart? Ha 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 ha. But I want to know about that. And so the way I would describe holistic law at this point is it's a matter of perspective. And I look at holistic law as a broader perspective on any particular issue that a client might have. I might, for instance, have a client come in and ask to start up a company. We're going to form a limited liability company, something like that. And rather than just having a legal assistant take down the information, fill in the blanks, do the deal, which we can easily do quickly, it would be, yeah, that's great. And so tell me more about who you are, though. You know, and I would really ask about the family, try to not to be too prying. I'd have to read them on what's too much or too little, but I would tell them ahead of time that I wanted to know more about who they are and where are they in this stage of life. And if you had that new company, what are you hoping to accomplish with that? And there have been times that by the time I get through and part of the questions are you married? Do you have kids? How much time do you want to spend at home if you're starting a new business? You know, broader questions. And there are times that I've urged people not to do it, or to go work on that at your dining room table, and when, you know, if it really works out, then come on back and we can set that up. A little bit broader perspective.